Hey guys, this is Mizzy here from Sweet Feather Studio, a brand new YouTube channel dedicated to all things crafty. This video is going to be about using an Epson Ecotank for sublimation printing. This video is also going to show you the print quality of this printer, as well as what it looks like when we put it on our item. Alright, so let's get started. I also got the A-Sub brand sublimation paper. I also did some research and I decided on the Hippo brand Sublimation Ink. The reason I chose this is because I've seen a lot of comparison videos with the Hippo versus other brands, and just as it says here, vivid and bright, I do agree that in the videos that I've seen, the Hippo brand was the brightest of all the inks. Here's the printer fresh out of the box. I did not remove any taping or packaging yet because I want to show you guys exactly what it comes with. Obviously, you have your printer, and then you get a nice little user manual, which I highly recommend reading. And then you'll see that it comes with some ink already, the 502. I would just keep this in its original packaging and try to sell it or give it to somebody you know who could use it. Because once you use this printer for sublimation, you really shouldn't use it ever again for regular inkjet ink. You can, but I hear that it is a real pain to clean this out, and if you do it wrong, you're really going to have a bad time. You might ruin the entire printer. So that being said, once you put the sublimation ink into this printer, you will also void your warranty on the printer if you have one. And then it also will come with your power cord. Another very important thing that I would like to point out, it even has it right here in front of your face so that you can't miss it. Before you turn your printer on for the first time, you need to put the ink in. So step 1 shows it out of the box, step 2 shows you putting the ink in, and then step 3 is when you power on. So obviously now we should remove all of the taping so that we can open her up and get going here with the sublimation. Okay, so our next step is to fill the printer with the sublimation ink. The sublimation ink does stain, okay? So you want to wear the gloves that are provided when you're using this. If it gets on your skin, it might stain for quite a while. I also have a handy rag here. It's a little bit dampened, but not totally saturated, just so that if I get any drips anywhere, I could wipe it up really quick. Another thing I want to discuss is to keep the packaging of your sublimation ink, because sublimation ink is very sensitive to sunlight, which is why even with the Cricut infusible ink, it says to keep it in the black bag that it comes with. If your ink does not totally fit in your tank, which it may not, you're going to want to put it back in the plastic it came with, and then put it back in here and store it in a cool, dry place. Okay, so to prepare the Ecotank to be filled, what you want to do is you want to lift this here, which I had already done because I couldn't do it while filming at the same time. And then the little flap that was here, you just lift it back like I did, and then you have this top rest on here, and now the tank is exposed. To fill the tanks, what we're going to do is we're going to do one color at a time, and we are going to make sure that we fully close one color before we move on to the next color. And if we have any drippings anywhere, that's what the rag is for. We're going to wipe that up really quick. It's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is lift this blue tab here, and then you can see there's a spot here to put your bottle in. And then once it fills up, you can watch it here, you just pop the bottle off really quick and snap this shut. Okay, now we are totally ready to turn this printer on for the very first time. We filled up the ink and I just put the cord in. So now all we have to do is see if it works. Okay, so we're going to push the on button. It's lighting up, that's a good sign. Alright guys, this is an exact example of why you should always read the manual. I didn't know that before turning it on you actually have to lift this, so that's why it paused here and it told me to refer to the start here sheet, because you're supposed to actually lift this entire thing. Okay, so now that I connected the printer to the computer, I was able to make my very first printout using my brand new Ecotank, and I'm pretty impressed with the results so far. So a couple things to know about printing with sublimation. First and foremost, you always want to mirror your images. You want them to be backwards on your paper because once you apply it to your item, it will then be forward. Another thing to note with printing with sublimation, it's going to be a lot duller on the paper than it is on your computer that you printed it from. This is because the sublimation ink doesn't really pop and become vivid until it is heated. Okay, so don't really worry about the washed out look. It will become better once it's on your item. So for example, here it is on the computer. You can see there's nice and vivid and bright colors, whereas on here it looks a lot duller. But I'm not concerned about that because the real test will be once it's heated. So I did notice two things here. All of these images are okay, but these two images have lines going through them. So like right there, there's some lines. And then up here in her face, there's some lines. So I'm not really sure what the problem is there. I know for a fact that this image is extremely high resolution, so there really should be no reason for lines in it. That kind of tells me that maybe the printer needs to be cleaned a couple more times to get the best quality. So I'm not really concerned about that. I'm just going to keep playing around with it. But otherwise, I think these are fantastic. What do you guys think? Alright guys, so I just transferred all of the images onto my items and I am so beyond thrilled with the quality of it and how it turned out. I think all the coloring just really popped out and it looks really great compared to what it did on the paper. Alright, so let's go over everything one by one here. For this one, we had said it looked a little washed out on the printout, but on here it looks perfect. There's really no, like up here it was all white, but there's really none of that anymore. The quality is really good. The faces are really clear. This next one here looked pretty dull on the printout, but on here it looks really bright and vivid. And you can see in comparison to the image on the screen, they are now the same color, pretty much. So on the paper it didn't look that way, but on here it definitely does. Next we have the Hocus Pocus cup, which came out really nice. I put the both images on the same cup together just because it's for a sample cup, so who cares. Again, it looks very similar to on the screen, whereas on the paper it did not. It was very dull. So I'm very pleased with the quality of that. Alright, so the other side is the image we were concerned about because it had some lines in it, but you can see the lines did not transfer. Oh wow, I got fingerprints all over it. So yeah, there's no lines here the way that it was on the image. So I'm wondering if it just kind of fused itself together once the ink heated up. You can see here the words are now facing the correct direction because it was mirrored. If we did not mirror our image, all of these would be backwards. I'm really excited for this one because this is my personal pet who passed away about 2 years ago. So anything that has her face on it is just really special to me. And again, with this one, we were concerned about some lines in her face, but they did not transfer. That all looks really clear. Her eyeball is just beautiful. Even the shadowing that I put around her name came out really nice. The whole thing is just beautiful. Lastly, we have the keychain, which we used the really old image on. It is grainy. That is not the printer's fault. I just want to make that really clear. This is just a really old image. This photo is like over 20 years old. So yeah, it's not going to be super clear, but I think it came out great. And I happen to have this little birdie right here, although he's a big birdie now. What do you think, Sir William? What do you think? What's cool about this keychain is the back is plain too, so I'm wondering if me and him should recreate this photo. Hey, don't chew on it. We should recreate this photo, you and me, and we're going to put it on the back. What do you say? Alright you guys, thanks for checking this video out. I really hope it helped you in some way. Maybe you're new to sublimation and needed some guidance, or maybe you just really wanted to check out this printer in general. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. I do plan on making a lot more tutorial videos.